I have been living in Australia since February 2024, and this is my opinion about living in a big city like Sydney and in a very remote city like Airlie Beach. I lived in Sydney the first 6 months of my life here in Australia, and I can tell you the first thing you'll notice is it's actually a big city vibe. Proper big city. In terms of people, Sydney has more than 5 million people, which is crazy. Me being from Portugal, it's almost half of my country in just one big city here in Australia. Comparing to Airlie Beach, with maximum 22,000 people, you are able to drive from one side to the other in less than 40 minutes. I can tell you right away, I found my peace over here. If you are a big city person, you'll find Sydney as a perfect place to live. A lot of cafes, plenty of gyms and restaurants, and a lot of life during nighttime. Sydney is a city where you feel like something is happening every single day. You have Vivid happening for more than a month every year, you have lots of big shows happening in the Opera House, big stadiums where plenty of big singers come in to perform. In general, something is happening all the time. A good example of this, right now close to the Opera House, it's happening a big show off of the new series Squid Game 2, where a lot of people are in boats dressing like participants in there, which is awesome. This year MrBeast came to Australia as well, David Goggin, Speed, and much more big names like these ones. Meanwhile, in Airlie, since I arrived in August, the weather has been basically sunny and very humid, which is not amazing, but here, and speaking about my experience, working in an island every single day is the best thing that ever happened to me. Airlie is special because how crystal clear the water is here and in the Great Barrier Reef. Here you have the best access to the biggest reef in the world, to do snorkeling, diving, scenic flight, so many fun things to do. Even if you are looking just for a short-term vacation, Airlie is so good to go out, enjoy some drinks, and go to 2 or 3 nightclubs since there are no more than this in town. Our time to live is almost arriving, but the memories will be forever. Sydney will always be the first big move I've made in my life, but Airlie got my heart. The gym, the job, the views from home and from the beach, just priceless. My experience doing the 88 days to extend my visa was so much better than the actual 6 months in the big cities. I guess it really depends on taste, and my taste right now is making money, have some peace, and stay as healthy as possible, so Airlie Beach fits me perfectly. Sydney is an amazing city, but you'll spend much more money there and you'll not be able to save as much as well. In general, Australia is too big of a country to decide a place to live for long. Honestly, even after meeting some Aussie people, they think the same way as I do. Australia is so big, it has 6 states plus Tasmania in just one country. And if you want to have an idea of how big Australia is, this is Europe and this is Australia. Yeah, I know, insane. The only recommendation I can give you is try it for yourself, enjoy as much as you can, and if you come from Europe, believe me, it's not as bad as they say. Actually, it's much better than your country probably. So if you are still wondering where you should go when you arrive Australia, I'm going to give you some good reasons to come to a big city and some good reasons to come to a remote city like Airlie. If you want to visit first the big cities, I am going to give you reasons why you should do it. Big city vibes will always make you feel you are inside a movie. It's a weird feeling, but when I was in Sydney, I always felt like I was in a Netflix series. Another thing is, if you want a taste of a good restaurants and good food, big cities will have hundreds of places to try out, which you'll enjoy a lot. In our specific case, we loved Girdlers, which in my opinion was one of the best brunches we had in our life. If you want to buy something personal, I can tell you right away, Sydney has it. The city center of Sydney is so big, if you spend 1 week there, you will not be able to see all the stores. There is so much going on in there. If you are a traveler, Sydney Airport is probably the most important airport in Australia, so if you want to travel around, Sydney Airport will have probably all the connections you want to the place you want to visit. Some good reasons to go, first for a remote city like Airlie Beach. In Airlie Beach you have the biggest reef in the world just in front of you. Airlie is a very small city, so you basically know and meet everybody in this city. You'll probably make the same money than in the big cities, but you'll probably save twice more. Safety-wise is incomparable. Not saying Sydney was very unsafe, which is not true, but Airlie Beach is the city I felt most safe in my life. Now some cons about these two cities as well. About Sydney, big city vibes, but much more trash in the streets as well. Dirtier places in general. Unsafe comparing to a lot of places in Australia, and the rents are completely abysmal comparing to any other part of Australia. Cons about remote cities. Very limited shopping. If you want very specific things, you'll probably have to buy them online. Food and restaurants can be good, but the variety is very small. One good example we have here in Early is the one I told you before. We love a good acai in the morning, and here we had 3 or 4 different places and none of them were special or as good as in Sydney or in Lisbon. Limited things to do and see. You can go to the Great Barrier Reef, do some snorkeling and go in some boat trips, but after doing all the things you can do here, there is basically nothing else to do or see. When in Sydney, the things to do and see look like limitless. So much activities to do, you feel like you don't have enough time to be able to do everything. So there you go guys. In my specific case, I really love Early because it fits my mood and my goals in this specific time of my life. But Sydney is an amazing big city and I can't recommend enough if you haven't been there. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you soon in the next video. Hopefully with 2000 subscribers already. See you soon, hopefully next week. Take care.